The break is over, the celebrations are over, and some of us just got back to our regular routine. And let me tell you something, it is hard to go back to learning a second language after you stop learning or speaking for a while. Some of us are exhausted from the break, and the last thing we want to think is to speak in a second language or think in a second language. In this episode, I want to help you get back to your bilingual journey. We will do this together by going over 4 principles to help you avoid quitting your bilingual journey because you feel overwhelmed. Bienvenidos to the podcast for Bilingual Mindset. I am Karim Morato, your host and Spanish language coach. You are in the right place if you want company in your bilingual journey for your family or for yourself. Mi casa es tu casa. ¿Listos? 1, 2, 3. Aquí vamos. Let's start with the first principle. Start small. And I want to add, remove the guilt and shame. Now let me get personal here. Exercising has been a struggle for me. For the last year, I have been able to get better at making this part of my daily routine. I started lifting weights and I have been able to be lifting more heavy weights. It is not easy. I do not like it. When I get sick or travel or take a vacation or just life happens, I also have the tendency to take a break from working out. This past break, I was sick, so I stopped lifting for almost 2 weeks. And every time I thought about getting back to my exercise routine, it just felt so hard and overwhelming. The idea of lifting weights made me tired. But I discovered that when I finally go back, it is easier if I start exercising light and easy. So here is my first advice to you is to start small, light, and easy. When trying to get back to your Spanish studies, do not go full force. Just start with 1 page, 3 sentences, 10 words, and take a short break. Now listen, I said a short break, do not take a whole week. We are convincing our brain, mind, emotions, our body that this is the right thing to do to keep going in our bilingual journey. For example, if you are taking one of my Spanish courses, start with 1 lesson, 1 video, 1 practice, but keep going. But the second part of this principle that I want to add is that let's remove the guilt and shame. When we are behind or stop doing something that is important for us and we stop doing it for a while, we are going to start feeling the pressure. And when we feel the pressure, then we're going to start feeling overwhelmed. And on top of that, we are going to sometimes add these 2 emotions, guilt and shame. Going back to my exercise struggle, the internal voice that I hear when I am not exercising, it is not nice. It's not a nice voice. So I know that to keep a good mental health, I need to replace the shame and guilt with conviction. Conviction will give you an internal force that will knock out the barriers to get back to your routine. But more than that, it will give you the strength you need to recommit with your vision and mission of educating bilingual children or becoming bilingual for you. If you are a teenager or you're a student studying Spanish. For me, the conviction of lifting weights makes me think about the benefits, about the investment I am making for my future body. Conviction will remind you about the benefits of learning Spanish, about investing in your future. Parents, you have the conviction to educate bilingual children. You know this is the best thing for your children. Being bilingual is a great advantage for your children. If you are a high school student, you have the conviction that you want a good education, and showing in your transcript or in your resume that you study a foreign language shows that you have cultural intelligence and also cultural awareness. So remember, start small. Remove guilt and shame and replace them with conviction. Remind yourself why you're doing this. Now, let's dive into the second principle. Focus on consistency. And I want to add this, avoid perfectionism. Why? Because it will stop you from moving forward. I recently discovered I sometimes struggle with perfectionism. People close to me know that details are hard for me, so I never thought I was a perfectionist until I read the concept. Listen to the concept. Perfectionism is an intense drive to achieve flawlessness and an unrelenting pursuit of extreme high standards. It involves putting an immense pressure on oneself to meet unrealistic expectations. Now, listen to the potential consequence of perfectionism: depression, anxiety, low self esteem, procrastination, fear of failure, excessive self criticism. I can tell you, I have experienced some of those feelings. Sometimes I give up consistency because I see failure in the future. And to avoid failure, I found myself avoiding to do things or ignoring what I'm supposed to do. And guess what? I start procrastinating. So when you are coming back from a break or life disruption, try your best, but do not fall into the perfectionism trap. Do not listen to the voice that tells you why you're going to try. You're going to fail anyway. Just give up. No, don't listen to that voice. There is a common phrase I hear all the time: practice make perfect. And this is good. Practice is good. We want to strive for excellence, to do our best, but we do not want perfectionism to take over because it will destroy our confidence and will paralyze us to continue and take the next step. So keep moving forward, even if you are behind. One strategy I share with my families doing my elementary curriculum is to aim for short times and to focus on consistency. 15 minutes every day is better than one time 3 hours. So pick up where you left, move on, and focus on consistency, not perfection. Now, let's move to the third principle. Do hard things. But I'm adding one more thing: reward yourself. I'm not sure about you, but I try to avoid pain at all costs. When we hear this phrase, no pain, no gain. Well, I will choose no pain, no dolor. However, I have children and I understand now better that pain is just a necessary part of life. Why? Because until we do hard things, we discover what we are able to do. And also we discover our capacity. And guess what? Capacity expands. After you do the hard thing, you will realize that you can do the next hard thing. In your bilingual journey, you will discover that you can do the next lesson, the next practice, the next vocabularies, the next model, the next course, the next level, the next conversation. But don't forget this. I want you to visualize a reward. And also ask yourself, what reward will you get at the end of the lesson, at the end of the practice, the model, at the end of the course, at the end of the level, or at the end of your first year of studying Spanish or your second year? If you are a parent, think about a reward you can have every Friday, every month. Now, if you're a teenager, negotiate with your parents. Maybe the reward could be a Chipotle meal. But remember to keep the long-term reward in mind. You know, that long-term reward, it's going to be the one that matters. You becoming bilingual, your children speaking Spanish. If you are a teenager, imagine finishing 3 years of Spanish and putting those credits in your transcript with a good grade. Finally, here is the last principle I want to share with you. Ask for help. Do not do this alone. If you are struggling to continue your bilingual journey, ask for help. Let me ask you something. Do you belong to a community of learners? Do you have access to a teacher, access to a tutor, or do you have a study partner? The fact that you are listening to this podcast, you are saying you do not want to do this alone. I am your biggest cheerleader. I am your porrista. And by the way, I want to say that I have a YouTube channel. It's called Spanish Educational Solutions. And I want to invite you to visit our YouTube channel. I really want to create a community also in our YouTube space. We are dropping super cool drills to help you learn Spanish in a fun way. Helping you learn Spanish better is part of our mission. We just dropped a new song, El Alfabeto en Español. The song is so good. You are going to love it. Your children are going to love it. Even if you're a teenager, you're going to love singing the alphabet in Spanish. So make sure you listen to the new song. We call those drills. Well, we reached the end of this podcast, and I want to say thank you so much for listening. Muchas gracias. And I want to wish you the best year ever. This is going to be your best year. Feliz Año Nuevo. And we will connect again in our next podcast. Hasta luego. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found value and encouragement in this episode. It will mean the world to me to know how this podcast is impacting you. Por favor, please take a few minutes to let me know and leave a review. When you leave a 5-star review, it will help others discover the podcast. Do not forget to subscribe. See you soon. Hasta luego.